didn't tell us, but anyway, I believe it's
Yeah, usually it says,
recording in progress.
yeah.
It's so fun. It's not really tough. You should go. I guess it's.
She, records, Zoom. This is Teams.
No,
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, we're good? Okay, 6 P.M., we'll call our meeting to order. The agenda have one under reports from administration, Alma Water, we'd like to add that. So that would be 8H. Anything else that anybody wants to add or take away? Being none, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Notes and second by Land. Any question? All in favor? Aye. Carried. Aye. Conflict of interest declarations? None? Okay. I will do the adoption of the minutes, October the 30th, 2025, special committee meeting. Can I have a Jeff Land, seconder Heather Ward Russell? Any questions? All in favor? Aye. November the 4th, 2025, committee of the whole meeting. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Jim Coates, seconder Jeff Land. Any question? All in favor? Aye. November the 6th, 2025, special council meeting. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes? Jeff Land, second by Heather Ward Russell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. November the 12th, 2025, special council meeting. I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
So moved by Jim Coates, second by Heather Ward Russell. All in favor? Aye. November the 13th, 2025, special council meeting. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes? Jeff Land, seconder Jim Coates. Any question? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. November the 18th, 2025, committee of the whole meeting. Could I have a motion for the minutes, please? Heather Ward Russell, seconder Jeff Land. Any question? All in favor? Aye. Consent agenda. We can do that in one motion.
I'll make that motion. I move that council approve the items as presented on the consent agenda for the regular council meeting on December 3rd, 2025.
Okay, I have a seconder. Jim Coates. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Public administrative presentation. Jessica Odell. How are you? Welcome back.
Are you all about it?
All right. Maybe you could.
Learned from the pictures. We were a little overtired. Yeah. Ah, okay, perfect. So we're gonna like this one. So, as you guys know, I went to Ontario, Danny and I, for our All Women's Firefighting Symposium. I'll give you a little bit of background on them. I know I kind of gave you one before, but I'll give you another one. So who are they? Every year, FSWO, which is Fire Service Women Ontario, hosts a training symposium in a different city throughout Ontario, bringing together fire service professionals from across Canada and the States. I didn't realize that, but also this year they had people from Uganda come over. So more than just the US and Canada. The event offers diverse range in class sessions and hands-on training, which is what I had talked about before, with practical exercises providing valuable learning experiences for attendees. In addition to professional development, the symposium fosters networking opportunities, allowing members to connect, share knowledge, and collaborate. So right here is actually the Deputy Fire Chief of Calgary. She is one of the networks that we had made while we were there. And she's actually reached out since we've been home. She's added us to Facebook. She's reached out to us, asked us if there was anything that she could do to kind of help us down here in our little area. If there was any resources or anything that she could help out with. You know, if I had any questions for training or anything like that, she's more than welcome to help out. So she's one of the main key networking component, people that I had met with while I was in Ontario, who I've continued to keep contact with. So we found out while we were there that there's more than just FSWO. So there's FSWCP, which is the Central Provinces in Canada, and then there's BC. And then they are actually looking at bringing one down here to the Maritimes, which they have actually asked if I wanted to be in on this to help bring something like this down here to the Maritimes. So that is in the works as well. Probably not going to be this year or 2026, but it is definitely in the works. So I realize that this is probably a lot. So what I did was I went through each and every course that I took because it was important to me that you guys knew what I had taken while I was there and what Danny had taken while she was there. So my first course that I took was Leading Beyond the Line, Celebrating Women in Non-Traditional Fire Service Leadership Roles. This was essentially a panel made up of 6 different fire professionals that were either started out as a firefighter and worked their way up, or wasn't even in the fire service at all and somehow managed to be in the fire service and is in a higher rank in the service industry. So we had got to talk about their challenges, their confidence, how they got to where they were, pivotal moments in their career, what their defining moment was. And we were able to take that and ask them questions and essentially rebuttal back to them and say, hey, listen, like, what would you have done in this situation? And we were able to gain insight and points on that. Acting up and stepping into leadership. Danny and I actually took this one together. So this one was a presentation about stepping into the role of a fire officer. So it showed what it was like to gain experience and challenges and valuable opportunities it presents. We were able to talk about things that maybe non-traditional fire service. I figure out how to work this. So we were able to talk about things that the fire service should have for non-traditional employees. For example, should there be a female program for females going through their level 1? Because females going through their level 1 aren't going to be equipped with knowing how to deal with, being on the fire ground for 8 hours at a time, whereas a male would, because females may be doing certain things during a certain month that will affect how they do, how they maneuver, we'll say. So little things like that, or, obviously strength is a difference. So we were able to talk about possibly building a program for females to go through during their level 1 to be able to get them to have the full access and full idea of what they will be getting themselves into. Advanced vehicle technologies and response tactics and EVs. This one I found was really cool. We had Dave Candy come down and teach us EV training from Riverview. He was great. He taught us a lot. This blew that out of the park. He actually travels to the Maritimes and around North America, putting on presentations, but he was able to provide us with websites and apps and different technologies and resources that we can use that actually are up to date on how we can fight fires and what is needed in order to put out an EV fire and what challenges we're facing while putting out an EV fire. It was actually put on with OnStar as well, because OnStar has started to have technologies inputted in their vehicles for things like this that will actually provide firefighters with information on, what parts of the car are actually hotter than the other and what parts we should be focusing on. All we need to do, there's a 1-800 number that was provided. We just need to call that 1-800 number and it's an emergency line. And we tell them that this is the car that's on fire and they pull up the diagnostics of it and give it to us. So that's where OnStar's at right now with it. They're trying to put it in all of the vehicles. Right now it's just in GM. But this course alone was so information overload. It was amazing. Hazmat alternative fuels. Wow, I spelled fuels wrong. Awesome. Vehicle recognition. This was put on by a guy named Greg Scott. He is the owner of Summit Hazmat and Emergency Consulting. He kind of backed up what the previous guy had said, provided us with resources, everything like that in regards to hazmat alternative fuels. Fun fact, there is a new fuel that is coming into the Wemyss chart with lithium ion batteries. So that'll be its own category now. So he was providing us with resources and everything like that, and new and useful ways to monitor levels to ensure that, you know, us and ourselves are safe around fires. There's different, I found out that there's different papers that we can rub on our mask to make sure that we're exposed to it or not. There's something that we can walk through and it'll actually show if we've been exposed because it picks up the radiation and the chemicals and everything like that that's on our gear. Introduction to prevention fire investigations. This one was one of my favorites. She works with OFM in Ontario and she went through, it was an intro course, but she went through right from the beginning all the way to essentially the end of a case with us. And she provided us with scenarios on, you know, is it a fire or was it an explosion? And with this, we're able to go to OFM here in New Brunswick and say, hey, listen, we took this course in Ontario and they will kind of credit it here and just build on what we've already learned so that I can be an assistant to the fire marshal down here. From policies to practice, this was not at all what I signed up for. We got in there and she goes, the course description isn't actually what you guys are going to be going through today. What it actually was the Canadian Fire Chiefs Association is putting together a bullying program. And they got our input on it. So essentially we built the bullying program while we were there. And it will be put into effect sometime in 2026. And we were able to have our input in it. And we were able to say, you know, like this should be changed, this should be changed. And it was really cool to see the different interactions with everybody there. Because we had people from the military there. We had people, like I said, from Uganda there, and people from the States and just all over Canada. So we were able to all put in our own little tidbits of information on what we think should be put in this program. This is one of the ones that I brought back that I think would be amazing. So Dare to Command Effective Leaders. This is a program that was put out in Britain. And she came and she taught us the introductory course to it. So in New Brunswick, we have something called Blue Card. That shows us we're able to go and essentially attend a scene virtually. And they are able to prepare a scene. So whether it be a fire or an accident or anything like that, and people will come up virtually on the screen and say, you know, this is what we have, where do you want me? So you would actually talk to the computer and say, I need you on the Charlie side, or I need you on the Alpha side doing fire suppression, things like that. This is kind of like an amped up version of it. And it's coming to the Maritimes. We were able to have a 30-day free trial if you went to the symposium. I took full advantage of it. And it is an evaluated app as well. They are actually coming to the Maritime Fire Chiefs Association in July, I think it is. They're actually promoting this as well. They were asked to go and talk about this there. I have brought back a bunch of stuff with me in regards to this app that I think would be very beneficial for the community and for us as departments. They have actually asked me to go to this meeting in July to talk about my experience using this app and how it benefited me and how going through each different scenario benefited me as a captain or a lieutenant on the fire scene in this essentially it's a virtual scenario. And then I learned about size ups and different size ups. We were able to run through different scenarios. One thing I did find that male to female versions of sizing up are completely different. So normally men will go and, you know, do their normal size up. One thing that I did find was we're a lot more in depth with our size ups. So before they came out with this actual course, they actually went to different captains and lieutenants and even chiefs and deputies throughout Canada and asked them to provide them a picture and said, show me your size up. And then based off of that, they brought it back. When we did the course, we provided our size ups and you could see the difference. Not saying that they weren't detailed, but apparently women are a lot more opinionated. So it was very eye-opening to see the difference. So I'm excited to see when I finally start moving up and able to do full size ups, what the difference will be compared to what our size ups are now. This was one that I just took because I had a spot to fill and I wanted to because I figured it'd be pretty interesting. This was all about gut health and hormones, and I know that sounds really weird coming from a firefighter perspective, but she showed us how to eat if we're on a late night call. So that way we're gonna be at full energy throughout the night call. And it's things like that that I never would have thought about. You know, she showed us things like what we should keep on our truck to keep us fueled, what we should not keep on our truck because we will just crash in about 30 minutes. And she owns Radiant Heart Space, which is also an app and a website that she does virtually. And she actually, again, provided us with a free trial for that as well. But she does it virtual and she's trying to branch out to fire departments across Canada to be able to show them this is what you should be keeping on your trucks, you know, sleeping habits, stress habits, things like that. And she went right down into breathing habits, like deep breaths and everything like that to be able to calm ourselves down during a scene. So it threw me off guard because I was expecting to walk into this going, okay, well, you shouldn't eat this and you shouldn't eat that, and you know, you exercise this, and that's not what this was at all. Unfortunately, Danny's not here, so I can't really give you all that much information about hers, except for the fact that Acting Up and the Stronger from the Inside Out, we took together. The radioactive transport materials, she actually went to a radioactive waste plant. They actually took her to a radioactive waste plant. And they got to go through everything, like for all of the whole plant. And we're able to talk about, you know, different things that would happen if something was to happen at the radioactive plant, what they would need to do, and kind of walk them through a couple drills like that. One of the other things that was there was an awards gala. This year they gave away 5 awards to 6 different individuals. And they were anywhere from Canada to the US. One of the keynote speakers who I was extremely excited for was Michelle Fitzsimmons. She's the highest ranking female in FDNY, and she's the first female firefighter to reach the rank of deputy chief and then onto the chief in the full history of FDNY. She joined FDNY in May of 2021. Before that, she was in Jersey, that's where I finally met her back in 2012, I think and she was a lieutenant. So to see how she climbed the ranks and to hear how she got there was amazing. And she has a lot of accomplishments under her belt. The other keynote speakers that we had were the Antarctic Fire Angels, who I didn't know who they were until we went there. So they are essentially 2 firefighters from Wales who went on the South Pole excursion, which was 1,230 kilometers. And it took them 52 days, 10 hours and 30 minutes to get through there. They trained for 4 years before doing this. They created a documentary to show how they went through each day. You literally see them setting up their tent. You see them, you know, in the morning getting their breakfast ready. You know, the other one's getting their breakfast ready. One of them's tearing down the tent for the day so they can move the other 20 or 30 kilometers and then continuing on. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. But then after that, not even 3 months later, they turned around and did the Great Marathon Race, which was 7 marathons in 7 days in 7 different countries, not even 3 months later. And they also taught a bunch of courses and stuff like that as well. They are also 2 people who I had connected with and who I have connections with, who have reached out since I've been back as well. Asking if there's anything that they could do, said it was great to see us. And my understanding is Georgina is going back next year. I don't think Rebecca is, but I think Georgina is going back next year. Because she liked it that much. But they're both very inspiring and they're very phenomenal females within the fire service. Georgina just got promoted. And so she told us all about that as well. So this is kind of some of the stuff that we brought back. I just kind of wrote down some websites and some apps that I had talked about or haven't talked about, but are training. So all training, networks, and things that they're going to bring to the Maritimes. Hopefully they're bringing an FSW to the Maritimes. They have reached out and asked if we wanted to be an FSW member. And then I just said that they're looking to create a program for the females joining fire services. So that way it kind of, we can tell them the difference between genders while doing a level 1 and what they're getting themselves into. I just wrote down all the community support, aside from obviously you guys at the governor's office for granting us the support to go. These are everybody who had donated. And then, obviously we had a couple days a day and a half to kill. So what did we do? I've never been to Ontario before, so we explored. Fun fact. Here. So we went to the CN Tower. For some reason, I really liked the Toronto sign. Don't know why. We went to Jack Astor's. That was me being very brave, laying on the glass at the CN Tower, which I will probably never do again. This is the president of FSWO, who I have become very good friends with. She is phenomenal. She's very organized. She's very dedicated. She's a captain in Ottawa. We went with 3 suitcases and obviously came back with a whole bunch more. For food, we went to, my husband has family there. So, they actually came down from where they live to come and eat at the Mandarin restaurant with us, which is right here, who we hadn't seen in a while. Downtown Toronto, we went to Ripley's. Fun fact though, don't go to downtown Toronto during World Series. That was not fun. I don't think I could move, nor could you move in downtown Mississauga, even though the game was in downtown Toronto. But yeah, in summary, on behalf of Danny and myself, we want to personally thank you for supporting us in our crazy and inspiring adventure. It means a lot that, our little village was able to come through and help us and support us, while keeping our best interest in mind. And then the next one, FSWO, is in Toronto this year, or next year, I guess, October 22nd to 24th. And the one in BC is in April, but they don't know the exact date yet, so. That's it.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions?
Can I get a copy of your presentation for the record?
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to congratulate you and Danny. I think it's, to see your enthusiasm, just, compared to when you talked to her a month ago, well, it's been a couple months. So what you're, that you've learned and experienced a lot. So thank you for representing Funny Albert. I would also suggest it would hurt for us to have a good news story, and this could be shared on our social media page as well. So.
Perfect. Thank you. It was honestly, in the 3 days that we took the actual course there, it was so jam-packed and it was so, I'm still in awe, the fact that I got to go and talk to everybody. Like, I learned so much and I'm able to bring so much back. I'm excited.
Yep, we can tell.
And it's definitely something that we're gonna
Good.
continue to try and do, and keep going to, whether it's just the Ontario ones or whether we try to go to the BC one too. But it's definitely, it was worth it in so many levels. Yes, thank you.
Hey, thank you for your passion and your service to our community. Thank you. Reports and recommendations from committee and private meetings. Personnel committee.
Yep, so not a whole lot to add for the personnel committee, but we do have a personnel meeting scheduled for December 15th. So agenda information should follow after that.
Thank you. EMO.
Biggest thing on, November 24th, we attend the setup for, comfort. And we've got a lot of work to do. They had a real thing in Burrisville. There's 6 or 7 different places and then there's a health place, a sleeping place. There's some pots that they can lay down. There's places for the kids to play. There's also they were playing cards. And the biggest thing that I think we found out, they had about 6 flood or I tried to say that so they could charge people that they saw and so and that to charge all your phones or besides that we've got the rep from Red Cross and he's going to first to go sometime in the first of the week. He's gonna just come down and go through the 3 places we have and give us anything, any help that they can have to set it up. So it's very interesting, what they had it set up with was real professional. And I guess the only other thing is we're gonna have to, if we ever have an accident like that, we're gonna have to have a lot of people. Well, 5 or 6 from the committee, and so you have to look at. I'm sure that if we were in Hillsborough, we'd be glad with help. And I imagine most of them, maybe even in Alma, was victim, right? And Riverside, Albert, there's a group that gives up. The only thing is we've only one place that has one. They have a shower. That's a little place.
That's
So,
limited.
we'd probably have to look into something that will work. If it was, over 24 hours. That's about it.
That's quite a bit. Recreation committee, nothing. Okay, ATV access on roads and streets.
Nothing moving on that.
Okay. From the committee of the whole, we have the JDI conservation plan, letter of support. Andrew's with us, Andrew Willett from JDI. Just as a point here, municipality of Grand Lake have agreed to sign the letter, Dogtown, Dieppe. Riverview voted to sign, they ratified it on December the 8th. Fundy St. Martin's, vote on the 9th. Sussex is signing, Valley Waters, Eastern Charlotte, and Fundy Shores will vote on December the 3rd. So there's a big buy-in from the community. If you have any questions for Andrew, he drove almost here last night. Got turned around and he came back again, so he's a tough boy. If you have any questions for him?
Don't know if I have any questions for Andrew specifically, but I do know that we did receive a letter, from some groups. And I
Yes, we
don't
did.
believe that has been responded to yet, so if it has, I'm not aware, but,
No, it hasn't. We've been kind of watching to see what happens and, maybe Andrew can address that. You've started to meet with those people?
Yeah, we met with Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society on Friday. Actually, we were meeting with them while they sent the letter. That's the top version. And then we met with Fundy Biosphere folks on Monday and reviewed the plan with them on Monday. So we're going to offer to meet with the rest of the groups and explain what the plan is. And so we'll begin to reach out. Over the next week.
I think it's important that, correspondence is sent back to these individuals.
I agree. I don't disagree with responding, but at that point, I didn't have an answer. I personally believe in this. It's gonna, I believe there's 5,500 hectares in Fundy, Albert.
Right.
That some of it's near the Turtle Creek watershed. Some is near our watersheds for Riverside, Albert and Hillsborough. And it's gonna save a lot of land that will not be harvested. The people that want the exchange, Dogtown, Chipman, Blackpool, those folks are lumbering people and they want that to happen. I've talked to a couple of the mayors, from Grand Lake and Dogtown, those two mayors really are pushing for this. And it also is gonna conserve a lot of land in, Fundy St. Martin's. So. Yes,
I've got no issue with this. I've spoken.
I guess what I'd like to have is a motion to proceed with the letter of support. And then we'll address the other letter that came. We'll draft something back to those folks and explain our thoughts if council approves. So somebody'd like to make a motion?
I move that the council of Fundy Elk support the submission of a letter to the Minister of Natural Resources regarding Irving Woodlands proposed conservation plan as presented at the committee of the whole meeting on November 18, 2025, and that the letter circulated by Mayor Campbell recommending conditional support for the expansion of the conservation lands while ensuring balanced land exchanges to maintain local economic competitiveness be approved for submission with any minor administrative edits as required.
Do I have a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Second by Jim Coates. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried unanimous. Thank you very much, council. I think it's important for us to do this. I did speak to a lady a couple of days ago that's usually camped out in Welland and explained what we were doing and the rationale behind it. And I explained to her that it's probably not 100% perfect for what they believe, but it is a step forward. So she seemed to be okay with that. So, thank you, council. I think.
Thank you. Well, we look forward to sharing this with the Minister of Natural Resources and
Yep.
make this plan happen.
Well, it's in his court now.
It's in his court now.
It's in his court. So. All right, sir.
Thank you.
No, thank you, for bringing this to us and, working with us. And, like you've said many times, you just as soon not be working in people's backyards or around their water. So if we can do this, it'll help us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stay, but I'm sure you'd like to go home.
It's a 2
Yeah.
Well worth the trip. Thank you very much.
All right.
Good evening. Yeah. Stay in touch.
Take care. Yes.
Reach out if there's any other issues with our.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. That reports from administration, Hillsborough Water Exploration Land
One before that there,
Exploration,
committee whole meeting,
the GDI plan.
do one before that.
Oh, streets,
Yep.
ATV,
No,
Yeah,
no,
did I miss?
Hillsborough water.
Exploration,
Land budget.
that's under,
I get committee of the whole.
committee of the whole, was it JDI conservation?
But I thought we were going to talk about canceling the December 16th meeting.
Oh,
so.
Yeah,
It was in the consent agenda.
that was in the, yeah, that's right. That was there. No, you're good.
Just had her.
We don't want to miss anything.
No, we got her down. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Hillsborough Water Exploration Land Purchase. Who's gonna speak to that?
I can. So this is the, piece of land that we need in order to, explore for, for Hillsborough. And, currently we have the easement and the landowner agreement has been signed. And, we're going through, some unanswered questions with the EIA that, we're responding to currently. And we're looking for a, approval to, place, $10,000 in trust, with the proponent's lawyer, in order to, begin the, well exploration as soon as possible.
I have no issue with that. I support that.
Anybody else comments?
You could put the motion on the table first. Want me to make that motion?
Yeah, please.
I move that the municipality of Funny Isle approve the release of $10,000 from the Hillsborough Utility Capital Reserve to be held in trust by the landowner's legal counsel for the purpose of expediting the execution of the land agreement associated with proposed municipal production well on PID 0061310.
Seconded by Jeff Rand. Any questions? Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Arena Land,
I can speak to this, an opportunity to pick up some land adjacent to the arena has been forwarded to us, and administration believes it would be a prudent move to purchase this land for overflow parking to resolve the safety issues that we're dealing with, as well as lands for future development. As we know, every year goes by, land goes up in price. And if we were to wait, it'll cost more money down the road. So the recommendation from the administration is to purchase this land at this price while we can.
Well, I'll make that motion.
good, thank you.
I move that whereas the municipality has identified ongoing congestion, safety concerns and infrastructure limitations at the existing Fundy Arbor Community Rink. And whereas a parcel of privately owned land PID 00621045 directly adjacent to the rink has become available for purchase, providing an immediate opportunity to relieve parking pressures through interim overflow parking. And whereas long-term recreation planning anticipates the need for a modernized or replacement arena facility within the next 10 to 20 years. And whereas ownership of suitable land is a prerequisite for eligibility under most provincial and federal recreation and green infrastructure funding programs. And whereas securing this parcel now represents a strategic investment that assures Fundy Albert remains shovel-ready for future funding opportunities and support long-term community infrastructure planning. Therefore, be resolved that the council authorize administration to negotiate and proceed with the acquisition of the property adjacent to the Fundy Albert Community Rink, identified as PID number 00621045 for the purpose of number one, establishing short-term interim parking to address current safety and congestion issues. Two, securing the required site for future development of the new arena facility. And be it further resolved that the total purchase amount shall not exceed $70,000 plus applicable fees, including taxes, legal costs, and associated closing expenses, with funding allocated from the Hillsborough Reserve.
Seconder. Heather Ward Russell. Any questions? All in favor?
Oh, I do have.
You do?
Yeah, it's a quick question. So I think this is great. We've been talking about this for a little while, so it's nice to see this moving forward. The only question I have is that we have not approved the budget for 2026, but, knowing that this is going to be, for additional parking, we probably should have some money allotted in that budget for some work to be done for this, but I don't believe at this point, there's any money, associated for that, so maybe between now and whenever the budget is looked at, we could put something in there for the parking, gravel, cleaning, stuff like that. So if you're gonna buy it, you might as well use it.
Exactly.
So,
Agreed, yep. Ian, the problem.
Yeah, we try to get to that. Like a scam money at the moment.
Good point.
Very, very good point.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Motion carried. Service connection Hillsborough.
Yeah, that was with me. A couple of months ago, we were approached by a service connection for a new subdivision up on Elgin J. It sounds huge, it's not. It was just one big lot to be divided into three. Due to the location of the services, we had to kind of do our due diligence to ensure that the lot could be serviced, and we've basically followed the correct procedure, and we're now in a position that we can service the lot. However, as this wasn't budgeted and it is above the budget level that myself or the CEO can approve, we went out for quotes to get the work done, as I presented in the report there. We went out 4 vendors, all 4 came back, with the cheapest quote being by MRM for $19,141. What we're looking for is an approval to transfer the funds from the Hillsborough Utility Capital Reserve to cover the cost of this installment.
yeah, soon you're fine.
Soon.
That's all they, you signed it.
so the motion is here, but there's no numbers written in the motion, so if you do number, that would be great.
Where is that connection? No, it says, O and J, whereabouts is that?
So it's at the intersection of Elgin J and Woodworth. There was one big lot there. They decided to divide the back section into 2 separate lots, as a subdivision. And basically what we've been holding out for, the developer has got to provide plans to show that both lots will be serviced, before we would move ahead with, looking into the service connection. He provided the engineer plans, and, it's a feasible lot and we can service.
I believe it's for a sewer connection, right?
Yeah.
What's the water for that?
Water we can do in the house ourselves because the water line runs right past, and we've got all the equipment and everything we need to do that.
If we make the motion.
Yeah,
first,
we've
before we
got to
discuss
put them
it.
on.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you. No, good man.
I move that whereas the developer has requested municipal water and sewer service connections for newly subdivided lots in Elvin J, and legal engineering reviews have confirmed the lots are serviceable. Whereas the scope of work involves excavation across the municipal utilities, including 2 water lines, a culvert, and an intersection requiring specialized expertise and equipment beyond internal capacity. Whereas the municipality has received a quotation for this work in the amount of $19,141. Plus HST, reviewed for completeness, competitiveness, compliance with the municipal financial management and procurement policy. Be it resolved that the council approves the quotation in the amount of $19,141 plus HST for the installation of the required water and sewer service connections. Be it further resolved that the council authorize the transfer of funds from the Hillsborough Utility Capital Reserve to cover the approved costs.
Here for that motion, please. Counselor Coates. Now, any questions, any comments?
Only question I have would be, I assume this is in Ward 3 or Ward 3 or Ward 4? 3.
Three.
So seeing that Councilor Jonah is not with us tonight, I would like to, hear some feedback from him, and he might have reached out to some of his residents, I'm not sure. So I actually would prefer to table this motion until January.
It's actually my,
Oh, it's your ward, so it is Ward 4.
no, Ward 3.
Ward 3.
He's 4.
Okay,
But I do have a couple questions.
you go ahead first
Yeah,
then.
thank you. Are all the tenders, all the P, when you send the tenders out, all the quotes come back, are they all the same?
Yes,
Are they gonna-
the key elements we put into the request for quotes was that it was done to be done to a certain spec. And it was to include traffic control, and reinstating the scaffold, and we provided the engineer drawings as well. And the quality all came back to the quality engineer drawings and would be for reinstatement.
With one of your quotes, he does not say that he's gonna pave. He said back to completion.
Which one's that?
Which one?
That's what, which is MRM. That's full restoration.
But it doesn't say paving. We run into an issue early this spring. There was a job done to paving one. We had to go back and pay it on our road coffers.
I can reach back to them as the lowest bidder and confirm that full restoration.
I have no problem with the contracts, just as long as it's clarified that it's in there to make sure that it's done. And will it be done and paved this year, or will it be to wait till spring?
Yeah.
That would be the question.
Every single one I spoke to said they would do their best to reinstate the road this year
Okay.
when the work is done.
Yeah.
However, that would be weather dependent on if the asphalt plants are open as well.
Thank you. Also, the subdivision plan, is there any buildings on these properties? Do we know that this is gonna be, we're gonna spend this amount of money to hook these up? Do we have,
So they've applied for a building permit for the building on the first lot.
okay, they have,
And in discussions with the developer, he's planning on doing the next one next year.
so they will be serviced within the next 6 months, not 12. Okay, thank you, Wayne. No, good. Fine, thank you.
Okay, no problem. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Fundy Albert General Village Core Capital.
So for our village core capital reserves, we've been currently put them into a GIC to keep them separate. I'm proposing that we open an account to keep them separate without having to, invest every year into a GIC and withdraw when needed. Um, I'm just looking for motion of council.
Do we have a motion?
I move that whereas there is not a separate bank account for Bundy Albert Village Core Capital, and whereas there is a need to keep shared and village core capital separate, be resolved that an account be opened for Bundy Albert Village Core Capital.
The seconder, Heather Russell, questions,
Just curious,
comments?
what is, like, I mean, I see that we're getting multiple bank accounts, and every time you open a bank account, they charge you a lot of different fees. I'm just not sure why you need an actual bank account for this. Maybe you can, maybe it's a very simple question, simple answer, I don't know, but, I just think it's, every time you open an account, there's just additional costs and fees that are associated with that, so.
So we do have a couple that will be, I think we have one for sure that'll be closing next year, if not 2 or 3 more, so. It's not gonna include us any extra fees and. As far as I've been made aware of, and we will still gain, this will be another account that we gain interest on, like our other capital accounts that we do have.
I do agree with Council Russell Ward that generally what you would have is one bank account and you have different sets of books. So that's where we're moving toward.
Yeah, so I guess at this point, as much as this, I think that we should move ahead and try to get our finances in order and the one bank account with different, I'm not gonna call it, but different Excel, spreadsheets or accounts would be sensible than paying, because I think if I'm not mistaken, we pay over $7,000 a year in bank charges, so.
That's also our internet charges, so every time someone comes and uses our internet machine.
I don't think that would be a whole, yeah, if, I don't know what the percentage on that is, but yeah. I'm just not a big fan of an account after an account after an account.
Where is this money currently sitting?
In GICs to keep it separate and to keep the interest earned separate.
So is there any advantage or disadvantage to leaving it where it is?
It's a little bit more difficult to move it in and out. But like I said, it's up to you guys as council, but for us to keep track, it's one less thing we have to kind of keep track of, because it's remained separate.
Anything else? All in favor? Contrary minded?
Nay.
No.
Coates?
No.
Nay? Yay or nay?
There.
Nay. Motion defeated. Hillsborough utility year-end surplus 2025.
I think you missed one, Steiner.
Probably
AE.
GI investment,
GIC investments.
yeah, 2025, sorry.
So Funding Albert has 10 cash flow guaranteed certificates, GICs, 9 of which are maturing between December 18th and 31st, and 1 to have additional amounts reinvested. So for, we have 1 for our Canada Community Building Fund, for our 2019-2023, 1 for our Canada Community Building Fund for 2014-2018. Number 4, GIC, Riverside Albert Fire Department. Number 5, Riverside Albert Capital, and as well as number 6 holds our Riverside Albert Capital. Number 7 is for the Riverside Albert Recreation Center. Number 10 is Hillsborough 2022 surplus. That was additional to what was budgeted, and we had invested in a GIC. Number 12 is for the Hillsborough Fire Department, and number 13 is for Alma Fire Department, and number 14 is Funding Albert Village for capital. And my recommendations are as follows: to reinvest GICs 1, 2, 4, 7, 10, and 13. To have GICs 5 and 6 to be reinvested together, as they both hold just Riverside Albert Capital. And have 20,000 to be withdrawn from GIC number 12, which is for the Hillsborough Fire Department for firefighting equipment replacement, and the remainder to be reinvested.
Motion, please.
I move that whereas the guaranteed investment certificates GIC number 0001 in the amount of $141,937.27 for the CCBF 2019 to 2023 program, and GIC number 0002 in the amount of $15,254.27 for the CCBF 2014 to 2018 program, will mature on December 18th, 2025. Be it resolved that GIC number 0001 and GIC number 0002 being reinvested into a cashflow GIC. And be further resolved that all interest earned on GIC number 0001 and GIC number 002 be reinvested into respective GIC from which it was earned. I think you stop there and
And then vote.
Second.
Seconder.
so I
Any
do have a
questions?
question. I
Yeah,
do have a
comments?
question. Yeah. Let me go back to. So this is where I would like, I'm not sure why you are combining the CCFB and the Riverside, the Riverside Fire Department and the Riverside Recreation Center. Like, this is where I would truly believe that GICs would be kept separate. They earn separate interest. They're defined for different things. I don't see a reason why you would combine CCFB and the fire department.
Give the for number 5 and number 6, which are both Riverside Alberta Capital.
Okay, so you have 1, 2, which is CCFB, you have 4, which is the fire department in Riverside. You have, and then number 7 is the recreation center. And then you have surplus, and then again,
These ones were to just reinvest. It's
okay.
that 5 and 6 we reinvested together.
So, but are you putting number 1, 2, 4, 7, 10, 13? What are your,
No, they're just being reinvested.
okay. So you're putting 1 and 2 together.
No, they're just being reinvested.
Invested, okay.
They're just grouped together because they're for the same, for both CCBF money.
So they're staying separate, but reinvesting both of them.
Yes.
Okay, anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Under amendment, the amendment, motion carried. After that,
So we have the next one, which is the Elmo and Riverside Alberta Fire Department GIC reinvestment.
I'll read that motion. Whereas CIC number 0004 of $17,273.60 for the Riverside Alberta Fire Department matures on December 18, 2025. And whereas GIC number 0013 of $22,949.28 for the Alma Fire Department matured on December 30, 2025. Be it resolved that GIC number 4 and GIC number 0013 be reinstated into a cash flow GIC, and be further resolved that interest earned on GIC number 0004 and GIC's number 0013 be reinvested into a respective GIC from which it was earned.
seconder for that. Heather Ward Russell, comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Hillsborough Fire Department, GIC withdrawal and reinvestment.
I can read that, whereas GIC number 0012 of $28,165.02 for the Hillsborough Fire Department, and whereas the Hillsborough Fire Department requires $20,000 to be withdrawn from the capital replacement of firefighting equipment, be resolved that the remaining $8,165.02 of the GIC number 0012 being and interest earned be reinvested into a cash flow GIC.
Seconder for that. Heather Ward Russell, comments?
Yeah, just curious, what was the firefighting equipment that was purchased?
They haven't purchased nothing yet. I need approval to withdraw. But they have a list of different things that were budgeted for this year. You know, one of them was their new tanks. Air tanks and systems.
So
I think you're gonna ask the same question. So if it was budgeted, why are we withdrawing from the GIC?
In order for them to keep our budget low last year, we had made the note that they would have to withdraw from their GIC to fulfill the rest of those capital interests.
So I don't think a GIC should, like, I mean, if it was budgeted, that's where that money should be coming from, not from the GIC.
No, we budgeted by having to use the GIC to be able to afford all the equipment they needed that were needing replaced for this year.
this is for firefighting equipment, not for truck repairs.
Correct.
Or-
This is all for brand new equipment. This is GICs. When you buy them, it's essentially buying a capital asset and can only be used on a capital asset. So this is for the replacement of, I believe there's a set of bunker gear they gotta replace. So their air packs, those are over $30,000. So
Just wanted to clarify,
yes, for sure.
because I know there's a project down there on the go, but I think it's probably costing some money. And I think it's coming out of their side, just clear along, that's all. Not scared to ask the question.
Yes.
So I'm not sure why you withdraw before the purchase. That's what I'm not quite sure either, so. I would think that you purchase it and then you withdraw. Cause I mean, right now you're withdrawing, but you really don't know. Is it in the exact amount of $20,000 or is there HST on that or? is
It goes along with what they have in their budget. That $20,000.
Yeah, I think I have no problem with the purchasing of it. I just, how this is.
They need to be reinvested before the end of the year. That's why it's here. For them to be able to do the purchase, I need to have these reinvested before the end of the year because of the way a GSC works.
So this money will be spent before December 31st this year.
Yes. Or we'll at least see the expense before the end of the year.
So the GIC, when it's locked in for a year, once you invest,
It's never, these are never allowed to be locked in. They're cashable at any time.
If they get hit on it,
You just don't get your interest.
you'll get some.
You won't get your full,
What is the interest rate on this stuff? Are they all different?
they're all I think, around prime rate. So I think, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can send you what the expected interest is.
I'd be curious. Thank you.
So I'm in total favor of them, I'm just not clear on something, so I will be voting not in favor, just something, I'm just not comfortable with this at this point.
that's fair ball. So, or we can table it. Can we not till January?
It has to be it has to be reinvested before the end of the year.
You can reinvest it and
And
then
take,
budget
still
in
take it
January.
out, can we not? It's not locked in, that was my
One.
question. It's not locked in for the year, is it?
No, it's
But
got
if,
plenty of
but
time.
if the purchase happens before the end of the year and
That's
that's,
to pay for it.
but if it's not out by the end of the year on our books, it's gonna be looking like we're taking that much more out of our operating. So that's gonna affect our operating. That was my thoughts of how I looked at it, but it's council's decision.
I'll stick to my points.
That's fine, we all have,
If it's for gear and stuff that they need, I'll support the motion.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No.
Nay.
Nay. Motion carried. Riverside Albert,
I move that whereas GIC number 0005 $13,055.14 and GIC number 0006 of $15,265.51 matures on December 18th of 2025. And whereas GIC number 005 and 0006 contain Riverside Albert capital funds, be it resolved that GIC number 0005 and 0006 be reinvested into one cash flow GIC with all interest earned.
Well, I did that.
second, comments, questions,
Straightforward.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Hillsborough. GIC.
Oh, there's Riverside Albert Recreation Center.
Sorry, River, I'm getting impatient. Riverside Albert Recreation Center, GIC investment.
Whereas GIC number 007 of $11,667.89 for the Riverside Albert Recreation Center matures on December 18th, 2025. Be it resolved that GIC number 0007 of $11,667.89 be reinvested with the interest earned.
Seconded. Heather. All in favor? Carried. Hillsborough GIC reinvestment.
Whereas GIC number 0010 of $198,502 of Hillsborough Capital matures on December 30, 2025. Be resolved that GIC number 0010 of $198,502 be reinvested with the interest earned.
Seconder, Heather Ward Russell. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Fundy Albert Village Core Capital, GIC reinvestment, 2025.
I move that whereas GIC number 0011 was redeemed in June of 2025 to withdraw $19,993.09 with the remaining balance in current interest reinvested into the GIC number 0014. As whereas only $13,812.69 of the withdrawn amount was used for the purchase of a new Bobcat snowblower. And whereas the remaining $6,180.40 is available for reinvestment in the funding Albert Capital, be it resolved that GIC number 0014 be redeemed and reinvested for the amount of $6,180.40 together with the current balance of interest earned.
Seconder. Any questions? All in favor?
My question. On your 13,812.69, was that the Bobcat snow blower price only, or did we have something else come with that?
Nope, that's all. That was for the snow blower and the net HSC.
Okay. Because we purchased a new trailer, that money come from somewhere. Where did that come from? Was that not leftover money from something, the trailer that we just bought a month or two ago?
Trailer, that was somebody's trade.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you the old import.
feel like the balance was operating. I'd have to look at it.
I just wondered, because I thought somebody made the comment there was a little money left over on this purchase and bought that trailer, trading trailer.
We sold one, yeah.
They used the money to buy the other one, but
I wondered if it come from this.
because the full amount of the trailer wasn't, there was a difference between what you got as the old one.
So 2,000 something years ago.
I'd have,
It's around about 2,000-3,000 off the top of my head.
yeah,
Plus your HSD.
Yeah, we just have to look at that.
I just curious where that money came from, because there was some discussion on it, and I thought it was money left over from the snow blower. The old snow blower that was there, was that traded in? Or that's it's still down?
That's still down there, we're using that for parts to upgrade the other ones.
Good, I got no issues. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Hillsborough Utility Capital. I move that whereas the 2025 budget includes a transfer of $3,500 to Hillsborough Utility Capital for wastewater capital reserve. And whereas the 2025 budget includes a transfer of $27,118 to the Hillsborough Utility Capital for water capital reserve. And whereas the Hillsborough Utility has a projected surplus of $160,705. And whereas administration recommends that $145,000 of the surplus be allocated to the Hillsborough Utility Capital Fund. Be it resolved that a total of $177,618 be transferred to the Hillsborough Utility Capital.
Seconder. Diane? Questions? Comments? All in favor? Carries. For utility.
so the next one be general year-end surplus. So for just a quick recap.
Yep.
We re-updated our projections and our projected surplus is $407,350,000. The majority of the key drivers of this is the unbudgeted revenue of $384,000. For village core, there's a projected surplus of $238,084. Key drivers as 3-ton truck purchase deferred. Golf Club Road did not require long-term funding. Paving contingency not utilized. Planned culvert project postponed due to other emerging repairs. And the hire of lead hand was delayed until September. In correlation with the CAO and the fellow directors, we have created the following recommendations for council. For under the shared fund, it'd be $15,000 towards a renovation drawings and property survey of the municipal office. $5,000 to install a mini split for the municipal office on the top floor. $5,000 for a mini split for the visitor information center. $20,000 to be invested into capital for pool repairs. $30,000 to be transferred into capital reserve or shared capital reserve. 20,000 to be transferred to our operating reserve, 60,000 transferred to our capital TMR radio reserve, and remaining proposed surplus of 252,350 remaining for our 2027 budget revenue. For village core, our proposals are 11,000 for public works tracking program, $9,025 for a push camera and attachments, and 215,000 being transferred into our village core capital reserve GIC. And that will be, we would have to adjust that for number 4 to be invested in GIC number 14.
I move that whereas Fundy Albert General shared has proposed surplus balance of $407,350. And whereas the administration has recommended $25,000 be spent on architecture drawings for municipal office renovations, municipal office property survey, mini split installations of the visitor information center in the upstairs of the municipal office. Whereas the administration has recommended $110,000 be transferred to shared capital reserve for capital pool repairs, TMR radio purchase reserve, and future capital projects, purchase of the repairs and replacements. Whereas administration has recommended $20,000 be transferred to operating reserve, and whereas administration has recommended $252,350 to remain for the 2027 budget revenue. Be it resolved that this spending authority be given to the CEO, treasurer, and the mayor of up to $25,000 for architecture drawings for municipal office renovations, municipal office property surveying, mini split installations at the visitor information center and the upstairs of the municipal office. And be it further resolved that $110,000 be transferred to Fundy Albert shared capital and $20,000 to the Fundy Albert general operating reserve.
Seconder for that. Coach?
Yep.
Okay.
Right, so I have a few things to add to this. So I just got some notes here. So when it comes to the recommendation, LSUs don't ask or need a lot, but what we do want is our rates to be realistic. This clearly shows the $407,350 clearly shows the LLCs have been overtaxed from 23 to 24. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we're working on about between $800,000 to $1 million worth of surplus since 2023. I would hope that the next council administration acknowledges this and keeps this in mind while developing budgets going forward. Seeing the village core has a projected surplus of $238,000 and the need to purchase a truck, I'm not sure why now this cannot be done with those funds. Under the shared recommendation, I would support all of them except the TMR radios. We already have over $100,000, and Jillian, you can tell us what that exact number is, but it's at least $100,000 in this reserve. I also like to see something added that impacts all of the residents of Fundy Albert. Therefore, I do propose adding or changing $60,000 for TMR radios to adding this to the bylaw enforcement, as well as putting the $10,000 to a dry hydrant in Coverdale. Lastly, this I assume is going to impact the 2026 budget, as some of these funds were already listed in there. So I guess out of those notes, I am proposing to change the TMR radio reserve to extend the bylaw enforcement contract, as well as taking $10,000 into the dry hydrant for Coverdale.
For bylaw enforcement, I would have to verify with our legislation. We can only put 5% into an operating reserve, so I'd have to review what we already have in there. And the dry hydrant, it's something we can do, but we don't have the funds. We do have 130,000 in for a TMR radio purchase, but if we were told that we had to purchase them, it's well over $300,000 that we would require to purchase those, and we do not have.
So, no, and I appreciate that comment, but realistically, I mean, no municipality is gonna have $300,000 that they can just put it just like that. It might take us 2 years to get to that point. So, again, that's needs and wants. You've got to be realistic with that. So, I don't believe I'm ready to vote on this motion right now. I would like to see, my proposed changes be considered, and By doing that though, I mean, I know that, if you're going to, you want to put it into reserves instead of leaving it for the 2027 budget. So this still can be, but we still have time. We're meeting for budgets and come back to council at that point.
I would agree.
And have a special meeting.
Very special meeting, yeah.
I would agree on your TMR radios, because I think when that comes, I think we need to be banging the drum on the problems that you want to implement this problem, or this solution, sorry. You and the applicant some money to fund. I don't think we need to fund that, maybe you call yourself. So I do agree with taking 60,000 out, but I think it should just go into operating reserves, so that won't hurt us on the budget line. As far as your dry hydrant review, I have no issues with that, but I think that needs to be studied and to find out where you're gonna draw your water from, and do some legwork on it first. That's why I'm saying put that money aside. If we need to come back to it, I have no problem working with you on that.
May interlude that all these amounts are going into a capital reserve. It's recommended that these be the items, but they're going into a capital reserve, so you can change your mind at any time. Because no council can stipulate for general reserves a certain project. So a new council could come in and say, oh, we're not gonna buy TMR radios at $130,000 we put in there, we're gonna spend that on the arena. So these are just our recommendations, but you can change your mind at any time.
I still take the TMI radio line out of there and just put it into your operating reserve. That's just my personal thought.
Operating reserve, I'll have to verify the 5% amount that we can put in there.
Okay, well, put it somewhere else if we can sit on it, right?
Well, that's where it would.
You got your village core
That
there.
too.
You
Is
got-
capital.
You got your village quarter of the tracking program and push cameras. Is that happening this year or we're doing 26?
I would prefer to get that as soon as possible because, for the amount that we pay for push, have that service done since 2023, I could have got 4 of them.
I would agree 100%. Like last week would have been better.
What better?
I'm serious. I just
Yeah.
get her done, right? The money's there, let's use it, right? And that way. we
Any
have-
purchases we recommended, and as soon as it's approved, we will be doing them right away because they need to be done before year end.
Great, just clarifying again, that's all I'm asking. And, you have $5,000 for mini splits. Did you get quotes on that or is that just a guess? Just an estimate.
They're the quotes that came into Kim previously.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those will be done this fall before hopefully January 1st.
We would, as soon as this is approved by council, we would put it forward.
Okay. Take your 60,000 out of your GMRs and, I'm good to go.
So I think you need to table this, rewrite the motion up and, approve it at a special meeting, would be my recommendation.
If I can amend it, if you want.
I still would like to see them look into the bylaw to see if we can get them for more than 16. It's really 16 hours a week, but it's really 8 hours a week that because 8 hours is spent writing reports and everything else. So I'm looking for something that's going to go from one end of Funny Albert to the other end. And I do get a lot of calls on unsightly premises that are being missed or that could do some more work. So I believe that, an extra day on bylaw would be reasonable.
So could you make those amendments and then still approve the rest?
Yeah.
It's two separate motions. So the village core items are in a separate motion.
I make an amended motion that we accept the village core as 11,000 for public works tracking program, 9,025 for push camera and attachments, and the 215,000 transfer to village core cap reserve.
So that motion hasn't been read yet. We're only on the
Yeah, you're back.
general shared surplus.
Okay.
The motions on the table is just on the shared surplus for 2025 of the $407,350.
I still think if we take the TMR out and put it in revenue, I think, or in the reserve, I think I'd make the most, I would agree with it.
Would you agree to the $10,000 to be put aside right now for the dry hydrant?
I would.
So then you'd want to move $50,000 then.
It'd be in the capital, that 110,000's in the capital.
Yeah.
So We can take,
She wants,
we can take the funds from that to fund the dry hydrant is what I'm saying.
but I think she wants it quoted, so there's actually in a written language,
But I
like,
can come back and say,
we made a motion, this is in it, bang, 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 we gotta sort through it. It's a line item, right? I think that's what Council Ward Russell's after, and I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Because you're gonna have to source where you're gonna get the water first.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be
so some of that work has already been done.
somebody's private land, possibly, whatever the case may be, right? So,
So could I be willing to make an amendment to the motion?
Yes.
So I made the motion. Who seconded it? Because whoever seconded it's gonna agree to.
move on.
So I'm gonna read the whole motion again. So I move that whereas Funny Albert General shared has proposed surplus and balance of $407,350, and whereas administration has recommended $25,000 to be spent on architecture drawings for municipal office renovations, municipal office property survey, and mini split installations at the Business Information Center and the upstairs and municipal office. And whereas administration has recommended $110,000 be transferred to shared capital reserve for capital pool repairs, a dry hydrant in Lower Coverdale, and the future capital project purchases and repairs and replacements. And whereas administration has recommended $20,000 be transferred to our operating reserve, and whereas administration has recommended $252,350 to remain for the 2027 budget revenue, be it resolved that the spending authority be given to the CEO, treasurer, mayor, of up to $25,000 for architecture drawings, municipal office renovations, municipal office property survey, mini split installations at the Business Information Center and the upstairs and municipal office. Be it further resolved that $110,000 be transferred to Funny Albert Shared Capital and $20,000 for Funny Albert General Operating Reserve.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm very minded being none. Thank you very much. Funny Albert General Village Coalition.
I move that whereas Funny Albert General Village Corps has proposed surplus balance of $238,084, and whereas administration has recommended $20,025 on Public Works Tracking Program, push cameras and accessories. And whereas administration has recommended $250,000 be transferred to Village Corps Capital Reserve from the future capital project purchases for repairs and replacement. Be resolved that spending authority be given to the CEO, treasurer, and the mayor of up to $20,000 and $25 on Public Works Tracking Program and push camera and accessories. And be it further resolved that $215,000 be transferred to the Funny Albert General Village Corps Capital.
Seconder, Councilor Rand. Questions, comments?
Only one question just on the push camera. I believe at one point it was 9,000 and it changed to 18,000 and now we're back to 9. So
Yeah, we found the proper one that we need. The one that was, we quoted for was a very, very high end that, say, a city would use. We don't need something that big.
so it will be taken out of the 2026 budget now if it is being used from surplus. Is that correct? Because I believe
No, it's fine. It's coming out of this year. It will come out of this year's year-end surplus.
but I believe that it was in the 2026 budget.
Was it?
I believe we took it.
I have to look because I believe that it's there.
Yeah, it was first suggested.
Oh, that's what was first suggested, yeah.
So just need to double check to make sure we're not paying double.
Absolutely.
Okay, second that motion, Councilor Rand.
I think that the whole motion will resolve, like, the spending authority.
I said that.
Okay, she's at 9.
Okay.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Let's get in. Down the water.
This was a late submission for this meeting in response to numerous residents' requests for information as to what has caused the turbidity issues recently in Alma. The report there outlines that obviously there's been these issues in Alma for quite a few years, like water projects going on. However, recently, we have had more, and we've had increased amount of phone calls about why is this happening, and we can't provide a straight answer. We spoke to our engineers, and they said they would be able to carry out a study, to attempt to determine the cause of this. That starts in the region of $5,000. And basically this report is to have council consider, approving the funds for us to carry out this investigation into the issues in Elma.
And I would like our water operator in charge to say a few words, what her thoughts are.
So I guess the Alma water system has been under stress for a number of years. There's two production wells. The main production well is a 40 gallon a minute well, and they have an emergency backup well, which is a 10 gallon a minute well. It was drilled in 1998. System was brought in 2000. Originally started, the rock formation that's there is very soft. So you have issues with sandstone in that area, and it causes a turbidity issue. So they went in, I think in 2003, 2004, and they put a sleeve in that well. The sleeve was designed, was thought that it would resolve that issue. It didn't resolve the issue. A few years later, then they went in and they put a variable frequency drive on the well pump. So when that stop and start on those wells, it was a very slow speed up and would help with that turbidity issue. That helped along, you know, it did work, but the community is growing and is using far more water now than it did in 2000. So we've been pumping that well in the summertime from 2000 until today. In the summertime, 24/7, from June until October. It does not stop. We have to put the backup well on as well to give enough water to supply the community. So then we hit about 5 years ago and the community blooms and we can't keep up with the water demand. So we have to pump those two wells 24/7, 365 days a year. Council at the time found money and started the development on a new water system. The new water system will have two production wells, 50 gallons a minute each, with storage capacity of 170,000 gallons. So fingers crossed, hopefully everything will work out well. That project, that system is expected to be brought online in 10 to 12 weeks' time. So we're looking at March. That's going to come in. We're going to be able to supply water to the community. We'll be able to relieve these taxed wells that we have now. The problem is, the analogy that I use is I can see the airstrip. I'm in the old plane and I'm just chugging along and I can see the airstrip. It's there, but we've got to try and land this plane safely. The problem that we're faced with is the system is so taxed now. We've got a PLC that's on its last leg, which is the brains of the system. We've got a well we've overpumped, and we've used and used and used, and it's on its last leg. We've got some equipment inside the building that is not, it's critical, but it's not critical. Our two critical items are our turbidity meter and our chlorine analyzer, and they are working. So we're able to manually operate this system. But if we're so close to the end goal, do we spend money to examine a problem that we see the end goal right there? By the time we ask ENGlobe to go and do this analysis or this study, we're going to be at the end goal. So if we can just hang on, Department of Health has, I've been talking to them every day. What they want us to do is make sure the system is stabilized and then we'll rescind the boil order. The challenge with that is every time that there's a power outage or even a little blurb of power, because you have dirty, we call it dirty power in Alma, we get a turbidity spike in the well. So if it lasts for more than 5 minutes and we can't see it going down, we have to issue the boil order. Jim, you remember Riverside, Albert? We were on and off boil order, but we saw the goal in sight.
The turbidity was the issue.
The turbidity was the issue there, and we had boil orders on and off. We decided to keep the boil order on because the community saw the tank and saw the filter there. We're doing the very best we can, and we see the goal at the end.
Get your point.
I'd like to see us I don't like to waste money. I'm not an engineer, but I know this system inside and out. And I know that we can do this. We can't put the new well pumps in right now because it's not advisable to put them in and just let them sit. We've gotta wait until January on that. The holdup is an electrical component, it's a transformer that we're waiting on delivery, and that's supposed to be in mid-January. So that water project is moving along very well. We're seeing the goal, we're seeing the end of the tunnel, and I'm seeing the runway as I'm driving this old plane coming in. Does that give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on? It's a turbidity issue. It's a well that we've overtaxed. We're trying our very best to make it to that end goal.
So basically what you're saying, when it shuts down and then you restart the pumps, it causes such a
Yes.
swirl of water down there that it's causing the
You've
turbidity.
got a number, there's four things as I see it. You've got a well that you've over pumped. You've got a construction site now in your zone A of your well field protection that you've built roads, you've cut lumber on, you've disturbed that area. You've got wells that are considered what they call goody, which are groundwater on direct influence. So every time it rains, it percolates down into that aquifer. The challenge that we have is we can't monitor the water level in that well because of that sleeve. But we know that there's wells in that area. Your former counselor, Garden, his well is maybe 200 meters maybe away from ours, and his well ran dry. This is an exceptionally dry year. We've been very fortunate, the Riverside Albert system, it's bounced back, but unfortunately these aquifers, we need to get these recharged. Everyone, like I'm sure there's wells, private wells that have the same issue. So those are the power, the turbidity, or the power on and off, the aquifer that's being taxed, the dry season, and the construction site, I feel have all influenced where we're at, coupled with a system that was just 20 years old and at the end of its life expectancy.
So what your thoughts are that we spend $5,000, they tell us that the problem is what you just described, and we can't fix it anyway.
You can't fix it, and you've got the goal in March that we're all gonna celebrate, when those tanks get filled with water.
It's sure.
I hope you celebrate in March because you're on the same aquifer. I lived on that hill. I moved in a new house, she was dry. The water in that hill travels up and down like you wouldn't believe. These new wells, I hope they work
I do too.
because you got an old one not too far away.
Mhm.
I'm down crawling over that hill and see where everything's located. And they are spitting distance away from each other.
Mhm.
Dave's is right there, the new ones are right there.
Mhm.
And you're gonna suck only 50 gallons an hour off the new ones,
50 gallons a minute.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So you
gonna
gotta fill them tanks.
Yep.
But if you're drawing 40 off the old one, maybe, because the pump's up used
Yep.
or out,
Yep.
but you're slow starting that pump. If you cured it once, why is it not curing now?
The water level this is a theory. The water level in that well has dropped so much, you've got this cascading effect.
It's dropping down in.
It's dropping down in the hole, and that's that's what we think. If I was Superman and I had X-ray vision, I could see that well, see the water in that aquifer. I can't. We're just going by
Too far down.
historical information, and we cannot get down there to see it. We can't put a probe in it to see because of the space in the well gate. Yeah,
Because some personal wells, you can hear the water running in. My well at home, I can hear it trickling.
Yep.
Put your ear down to it, you can hear it coming. But when it stops, that's when you get concerned.
Mhm.
But I think the aquifer on that hill is low. And I hope they start using pumps, if they're gonna be fine. And once you get the wells filled up, they got the volume, maybe to get them through the summer, which is gonna be important
Yeah, you've got 170,000 gallons that you're gonna have in storage,
compared to what, 15.
compared to not even.
Yeah.
13,000, I mean, if that,
It's a
yeah,
big difference.
big difference, big difference.
What if they start the new pumps and the turbidity in the new ones?
Then you have the money, there's a plan set aside that you'll put treatment in.
That-
That's,
So that's in that new budget money,
that's, in the 12.9 million you received, yes,
so that's not going in unless there is turbidity.
unless there is turbidity. What
So
they'll
why
do,
wouldn't they put it in anyways if it's in the budget?
why wouldn't they give us a washroom?
I think that's a question needs to be asked.
The reason what they're doing is they're trying to keep your costs reasonable. So if they run these wells for a year and we don't have a turbidity issue, then why, we spent money on treatment that we don't need.
You know it's coming.
I do, but I mean, I'm not,
It's already there. Your turbidity's already in the system.
yeah,
The new system's gonna have it, I think.
but that's the way it is, business.
I would
I
ask the
need-
administration, to ask that question.
Yeah.
Why they're not spending that money if it's already in that budget? Because it's only a 6.67%
Yeah.
cost to the people. It's
Well,
an awful
here-
deal.
Here explained to me, and I think it was the night of the meeting in Alma, this summer. You know, the idea was that the system as it is would get up and running. And, you know, fingers crossed, there would be no turbidity issues. Fingers crossed. And then after a year of operation, then the back wall is designed like it's, so that there's no, piping or anything like that on that, the easterly wall. So that can be added on to, and that's where the treatment will go.
So if they run it for a year and all of a sudden turbidity comes in or it doesn't come in, and we want the system in, can we get it put in? That would be a
It's-
question.
That's how it's set up. That's,
The money will still be
the
there.
money's still there, because you've got
Try and
12.9
understand what you're
million,
saying.
you've only used 6.9 out of it.
Cause
Well,
I'd run on the air of caution rather than not put it in
Yeah.
and have trouble 4 years down the road.
But wasn't there talk that they needed some of that money
for
for
wastewater
for wastewater
and the booster station.
and the booster station? That was the
Yeah.
concern.
I just thought maybe tonight, by me coming here and explaining what's going on in Alma, I hope it'll help the residents. If the water is not contaminated, it has turbidity in it, and turbidity is a very common component in water systems. And
But we're still under boil order and they have to do that.
you're under boil order, and, you know, Department of Health issued the order. You know, we'll give them the evidence if they feel that they, you know, we're operating within our operating parameters, they'll rescind the order. And you have the choice to keep it on if you feel that the on-off risk is too great. Or you have the, you know, to comply with Department of Health. I just want to, you know, give everybody the options there, but
Is there any money in their utility for the 5,000?
Yes, we did look into it and, there is availability to pay that. But
What is in that account? Because I mean, I believe the CEO did say that it could go up to as max of, you know, not a max, but
They
even
could
higher.
come back to us and say.
10,000.
It's 10,000, and then if you find out what it is, to Heather's point, you know,
When the new system comes in, that well's gonna be decommissioned,
it's not going to be decommissioned.
still gonna,
It's gonna be a part of the source.
okay,
But what we'll do, a new well pump is going in there. And we'll let that rest for some time, you know, and manage it.
Yeah.
As best we can. I just think we're so close to the goal that I know what engineering firms are like. It may be 5,000 now, but you're not gonna get the report in the middle of January. It's gonna take time to study it. And, you know, but that's up to you.
and I just want to add to Heather, I had a call from a resident that was, thought that the plant would be online in December, and I explained to her, no, that's when testing starts. And I mentioned to her it'd be closer to the end of March.
Right.
So just put that on record there.
The wells will be tested in late January, early February, and then, all construction should be completed. And if everything goes well, March, we'll have production.
But your volume of water right now is adequate to run the village, correct?
It is, and that's the
That's all
main
it's
goal. That's the main goal right now, is to produce water.
So she's holding her own.
She's holding her own,
Is she shut down?
it's, on the weekends, we see a decrease. And then by Wednesday, we're back up to a full tank.
Does it shut off?
No,
It runs steady out.
it's run 24/7 for about 5 years.
She's just keeping up.
She's just keeping up.
is there some usage that's gonna shut down?
Let's hope. So fishing season should be coming to an end.
So
Second
just
week
start
of January
January.
should slow down.
And you say the turbidity level you think is dropping a little bit now?
What happens is when you get a rain event or a power outage, it spikes up. What we noticed is it started and it would, 5 minutes, you would be back down to a reasonable level. But now these are extended, these periods of turbidity are extended a little bit longer. So there's obviously something happening in the
So there's water, groundwater getting.
groundwater's getting in. Yeah, and that's evident. We did have some coliform and some E. coli.
Yeah.
It's a gooey well, and that's the reason why we're watching our chlorine residuals and stuff. Is that of any help? Any questions?
Yeah.
I hope that the residents down there will understand and support us and do whatever we can to get through this next leg.
Yeah.
And if you need any advice from the Riverside Albert community, they went through it.
How many years
Yes,
did we have boil orders that we lived with?
right. Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunate. We don't like to do it, but we have to. Anyway, is that
It got fixed.
Thank you.
good?
I'm happy. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks.
I think we should hold on. Yeah. We do a study, it's gonna be end of January, probably before we get it done. I don't know.
Did he give you a time frame when he could do it?
Generally, those studies would take that long, maybe even a bit longer.
Yeah, we may have the new well online by the time.
My concern is that they're paying enough now. I've heard several people say that it's expensive for water, and I
It
know,
is expensive.
and we don't take it for granted to turn a tap on, but those guys are paying. And another $5,000, $10,000 out of their budget might be needed for something else. I'd be more inclined to put that new pump down the hole for 10 grand than to do the turbidity test if that's.
Comment, Heather?
Yeah, the problem with the new well is that it's the aquifer that I'm concerned with. It needs rest.
Well,
Right, well, and that is an option. I'm doing that in one of the communities that I'm in now, where we have our production wells, and right beside that well, we're drilling down deeper. Much deeper, because in that community, we only have, our well production is 3 wells at 10 gallons a minute, so we only have 30 gallons a minute to supply a community of 200.
Ooh.
That's a challenge. So there are options.
So to change that pump now won't help.
It won't help.
That's what I thought.
No.
I think I'd say the money. That's just my quick thoughts.
Heather? You
That was great.
Coach?
I agree. Hold off and take a chance.
Okay, done. Yep, thank you,
You're welcome.
Heather, and thanks, council. Bylaw number 4025-03. Fundy Albert measure, emergency measures bylaw, third reading and enactment.
I move the council give third and final reading of the title only to bylaw number 2025-03, Funny Albert Emergency Measures Bylaw for the Council of Funny Albert. Whereas the Village of Funny Albert is hereby given its third and final reading, that bylaw 2025-03 is enacted on this third day of December 2025.
Seconders. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Done deal. Mayor and council statements and inquiry. Heather?
A few things here. So as of today, we still not received or seen the 2023 audit, and we've been given a deadline to file our 2026 budget to the provincial government. Is there any update on the 2023 audit?
So I'm looking at approximately, we were given the original date of December 8th. But my instincts are telling me it's going to be a week late.
Okay.
And just for the record, we have no control over that.
No, I understand that. It's just,
It's frustrating.
it is very frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate there's been some new budget shared. Also would like to see, I think I've mentioned before, sharing the shared service column and the amount. I know that in the working document, there is a shared like a list, but it would be nice if that was highlighted somewhere in the actual budget that you could see. Just for an example, I believe it's 21219 legal services. It shows that it's a shared cost. But we do know that there's costs associated to the village of Hillsborough for easements only, so there should be two separate line items under that legal. It should not be all 100% shared. Also like to note that I've given over 6 weeks notice. My work schedule will see me away for the week of December 8th. The budget will be voted on and discussed during this period of time, so I just want the residents of Lower Carville and the Carville Parish to know that I've tried to ask for this date to be different, but it's not been given to me yet. Winter maintenance schedule for Lower Coverdale. I want to acknowledge that Core Property Services has contracted the snow removal or winter maintenance out to Bear Asphalt Snow Removal, CPM. So there was a number of complaints today that it was well after 1 o'clock before some of the roads were plowed in the Whitebirch Estates. I think that was it with regards to my report, but I'm not sure if this is our last formal council meeting or not, but at this point, I'd like to make sure that I wish Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all the residents of Fundy Albert.
Councilor Coates. Tuesday, November 25th, I have turned the Hillsborough Library Zoom meeting. And they presented bylaws and that and all. So it's the post and the return. Besides that, if anybody, if these, I guess, garage sales, yard sales or whatever, if they're in and see any like puzzles or stuff like that, come up, you know, for 50 cents, $20, $2, we can pick this stuff up to have in case of an emergency, okay? I know our budget is very low on that stuff, so I don't wanna go and spend a bunch of money and never have an emergency and get it on. But if we look at it, I have the cards, you know, people give them away, you know, at times. So anything like that, you can pick that up for $2. I think we could take it on a petty cash type of thing, but
Yeah, so when Councillor Coates and I were in Grand Brassois, they had a section for kids in the warming center, and that's where the games were. So that's kind of if we see something.
Get tired of them away and they're put in the storage way and, you know, then they end up in the yard. Okay, that's all I got. Besides that, I wish everybody happy Christmas and a happy, I hope, are we still talk on the 12th, I think? Is that still on?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. I hope everybody can attend that. That's all. Go ahead.
Just a couple things, Golf Club Road, the culvert has been completed, the guardrail's up. The asphalt has been replaced, it is done. A little offshoot for the ATVers and stuff is all done, the guardrail's made with, Bushwood did a decent job, I should say. Also, hopefully the LBJ project gets underway, gets finished before the end of the year, when the frost gets in and we can get it paid, hopefully. And I had a resident reach out to me with, a request at the bottom of Central, what's the street runs across? Pleasant. They'd like to see a speed bump. Traffic going through there is crazy. That's all new pavement lines for the last few years. And I brought up to you about the ditch with the small culvert. Would like to have that addressed also. But the speed bump for summertime, I think will make a big difference because they do travel pretty. So If we add that to your list, that would be great. And I'd like to wish everybody on council, mayor, staff, people from the Albert, Merry Christmas, people in the gallery. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and, hope everybody has a good one. Thank you.
Thank you. For me, it's kind of slowed up a little bit the last week, so, I'm not sad. But I also want to say that as we get towards this time of year, I know we're going to meet on the budget again and be together, but all the council, thank you for your support. The residents have been not too bad. Overall, it's been good. As far as the staff goes, thank you very much for welcoming me in May. It was good to come in and feel welcome. I'm sure not every day, but most days we've had good days. So thank you all very, very much. And to all good people in Fundy Albert, because we're friendly by nature, have a Merry Christmas. That's pretty much all I've got to say right now. No motions or resolutions.
Make a motion to go into a closed, oh,
Oh, if in case anybody, Kathy or Mrs. Ward.
Can I ask you a question? Or can I make a comment?
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what your push camera. Because in one of the organizations, we looked into that, and those are more designed for plumbers in residential. What you folks are looking for is actually what you need, the, for the 4-inch line or the 6-inch line or the 8-inch line to walk and do what you're doing.
That's what we're purchasing. Yeah,
So you're-
I'll show you the specs on it.
You got it for 10 grand?
But you two look at it together and then you can.
Come down, play with it.
Wow,
by nature.
I guess.
Oh, your nose.
Wow. I gotta find a supplier of that.
Kathy?
I just really appreciated the explanation that Heather gave on the Alma water situation and understanding what we went through in Riverside for years. And I'm sure the Alma residents are doing the same. And if it's possible for Heather to make a public, just let the residents in Alma know if they want to come, and because that explanation might help them understand that short-term pain for long-term gain might be an option. So, and I, just a little plug for, JCA's, we're down to 8 cards and steak and chicken barbecue on Friday night. So maybe it's over 22,000 now, so. And I don't know if I'm allowed to ask, I just had this discussion on that GIC, thing. If you can cash, does it take a week to get the funds out of a GIC?
No, it's within 24 hours.
Yeah, so cashing out 20,000 that you might not need for 2 weeks would be a difference in interest earned. So I think just sitting here listening, I really agree that cashing out when there's no locked in time, cashing it out with the 24 hours in your bank and pay for the bill at whatever it's for.
It's just, I think the idea of it is to have it out for year end. Because if it doesn't occur at year end, it could, have repercussions. Was my initial reasoning.
Does G6, that's the, do they still consult, when you come back? So the recommendations that they make on whether you should put them in or pull out money for future, do they, are these recommendations they suggest on not?
Yeah, that's not part of their scope.
No.
It's not, so these are recommendations from administration, not from a consultant.
Right.
So, anyway, just my comment is sitting here, I think we need every bit of interest earned that can be earned, and if it's a week or 2 weeks or Or, if it explains, if the impact on the year-end budget can be explained as by that, then there's an explanation, not a flat against. And that was my feedback. And Mary does not come.
Well, yes, we do have a move.
No, that's part of the consent agenda.
Yeah. For the committee of the whole in December to cancel it.
That was part of the consent agenda.
That was consent, so
Yeah,
we're good.
that's part of it. Yeah.
We're good, Jim. It's
We
done.
brought her up, Dutch.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna make sure we get a little break here.
These are,
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Seconder, favor.
okay, just wait.
We get those. I'm just not gonna get to my phone.
Ian, are you going?
Yes.